Divine Revelation, 3 miraculous messages that can save your life today, confirmed by heaven. In the heart of the quaint English village, whispers of a divine revelation echoed through the cobbled streets. It began one brisk evening, the kind that nipped at your fingers and made candlelight flicker warmly against the old stone walls of St. Michael's Church. Inside, a small prayer meeting gathered, and the air was thick with anticipation. The pastor stood at the front, eyes blazing with a fire summoned from beyond this world. Tonight, he intoned, his voice a rich tapestry of faith and fervor, 3 miraculous messages from heaven are meant for Emily. Gasps rolled through the congregation like waves lapping at a shore. Emily, a devoted single mother, felt her heart quicken. Could this be the miracle she so desperately needed for her son? As Pastor Thomas spoke, a hush fell over the crowd. The first message, he shared, was about unshakable faith that could move mountains. Within the flickering candlelight, the shadows danced as if angels stirred just out of sight. Trust in God, he urged, could lay hands upon the hefty burden of despair. Then, the second message, a promise of healing that seemed to shimmer in the air, brightening even the darkest corners of doubt. Emily's heart ached for her boy, who had fought tirelessly against an illness the doctors deemed insurmountable. Tears welled in her eyes, not from sorrow, but from a rising tide of hope. The third message carried like soft whispers through the hall, that love and community could rally for the impossible. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The days following those words were filled with crushing doubt from some who loved her. Emily's mother, kind yet concerned, noted, "My dear, miracles are but fairy tales." Her friends recoiled from her fervent prayers, urging her to accept reality. But Emily's resolve hardened. She turned to St. Michael, the village's beloved patron saint, praying earnestly, seeking divine intervention while navigating her son's fragile health. As she poured her heart out, she began to notice small shifts, glimmers of joy among her son's struggles, mirroring what the pastor had promised, yet soon, the shadow of grief loomed heavier. Each attempt to seek healing seemed to deepen her despair. She was torn between relentless faith and haunting loneliness. What if hope is merely an illusion? The painful thought would whisper. Just when Emily felt she might sink, she remembered the pastor's words, messages that would guide her. One evening, during a community gathering, she bravely shared her journey. Hope unfurled among the crowd like blooming petals, awakening a spirit of devotion that had long been dormant. Eyes glistened, even among the skeptics. Then, the unexpected happened. Her little boy, who had rested silently by her side, suddenly stirred. The air thickened with a divine presence, and the group held their breath as he sat up straight, eyes wide with life. A gasp echoed, mirroring Emily's racing heart. Could this be the moment they had all prayed for? What followed was uncertain, but beneath the flickering candlelight, both hope and doubt shadowed the air, stirring a divine tension in their midst. The room fell silent, suspended on the delicate edge of expectancy. Emily's heart thudded loudly in her chest, a rhythmic drum echoing both hope and fear. She reached out a trembling hand to her son, feeling the warmth of his small body against her palm. His eyes sparkled with a brilliance she had almost forgotten, a light that seemed to press against the darkness they had been battling. Around her, the community held its breath, their collective faith stirring a palpable warmth in the air. The atmosphere shimmered with divine promise, as if heaven itself bent low to listen. "God is moving," whispered a voice from the back, sending soft ripples through the crowd. It was Mrs. Green, her wise eyes shining with unshakable faith. At that moment, Emily shut her eyes tightly, inhaling deeply, trying to steady her racing heart. The pastor's words echoed in her mind: trust, healing, love. It was as if the messages had woven themselves into the very fabric of that room, wrapping around everyone present. May I be the vessel for his will, she whispered beneath her breath. Suddenly, a flurry of movement erupted as her son clumsily rose from the ground, supported by the gentle hands of those nearby. They surrounded him like a protective circle, filling the air with encouraging words. "You've got this. Keep going." The encouragement ignited something within Emily. An ember of strength flickered and flared, illuminating the shadows of doubt that had lingered. As her son took a tentative step, then another, the congregation erupted into a chorus of praise. Boisterous hymns of joy cascaded over her, saturating the air with thanksgiving. Tears streamed down Emily's face. They were no longer tears of fear but of praise. She was witnessing something incredible, a miracle unfolding before her very eyes, yet, even amid this triumph, a flicker of uncertainty fluttered within her heart. Could the doctors really be wrong? Would this moment last? But the warmth surrounding them, the hands clasped together in prayer, contrived to bolster her wobbly faith, reminding her of the first message: faith could indeed move mountains. Days turned into weeks, and each ensuing day brought a new miracle. Her son grew stronger. The color returned to his cheeks, and laughter began to fill their small home again. Emily could hardly believe it. She trusted God's hand was over their lives in a way she had never seen before. But as the blooms of healing blossomed, the village still teetered between skepticism and belief. Hidden whispers echoed of doubt and cautious optimism. It seemed some were rooted in their fears instead of faith. One day, after school, Emily found herself in a heated discussion with one of her best friends, Helen. "Emily, don't you see? It could all come crashing down. You can't let your heart be so exposed," Helen warned, her brow furrowed with worry. Emily took a deep breath, grounding herself in peace. "It's in the vulnerability that we find strength, Helen. I have felt the touch of heaven, and I cannot go back." As the sun dipped low in the sky that evening, painting the village in hues of orange and gold, Emily clutched the little Bible her mother had gifted her. She knelt in a quiet corner of her home, praying fiercely. Light filtered through the window, dancing across the pages, and in that sacred moment, she felt the promise of love envelop her. Not just as an idea, but as a reality pulsating through her life. Yet, even as confidence surged through her, a challenge loomed on the horizon. The doctor had requested one last set of tests. Emily's mind raced. What would they uncover, she wondered. Would their faith withstand this trial? As dusk settled, shadows deepened in the corners of her home, and with it came the whisper of divine mystery. Emily felt her hands tremble, but she straightened her spine. While questions danced in her mind, the next step felt clear. What if this test was not just a challenge, but the key to unlocking the full extent of God's plan? With each heartbeat, anticipation coiled tighter within her. The tension mounted, for they were about to discover whether the miracle would persist or whether a greater lesson was yet to be revealed. Could she, amidst doubt and fear, hold on to faith? Would there be a deeper revelation waiting just beyond that door? The morning dawned with a quiet intensity. Sunlight streamed through Emily's kitchen window, illuminating the faded linoleum floor. Today was the day. With a shaky breath, she stirred her coffee, the aroma swirling around her, and she began to pray. "Lord, guide us through this," she murmured, the weight of the test pressing heavily on her heart. Her son, Lucas, bounded into the room, his energy radiating like the sun that warmed their little home. "Mom! Can we go get ice cream afterward? Please." His chocolate-smeared smile lit up his face, showcasing the innocence of childhood, a blessing she cherished more than words could express. "Of course, sweetheart," she replied, ruffling his hair, buoyed momentarily by his zest for life. Yet, the shadow of uncertainty hung over her. What if today's test brought news that shattered their fragile peace? As they drove to the clinic, Emily's heart raced. The streets were dotted with blooming flowers, vibrant colors offering a stark contrast to her worries. Each red petal seemed to dance in the breeze, whispering reminders of life, transformation, and God's unending grace. "Mom, do you think God can do anything?" Lucas broke the silence, his wide eyes searching hers. Absolutely, honey. He can do all things, she reassured him, faltering at her own words. Did she truly believe that? Upon arrival, the clinic's atmosphere felt charged with tension. Nurses shuffled about, their expressions a mixture of concern and professionalism. Emily and Lucas settled into the waiting room, which felt eerily quiet. She scanned the walls adorned with pictures of smiling families, and for a moment, she clung to the hope each image represented. Emily. The nurse's voice startled her as she rose. She glanced down at her son, whose hand still sought comfort within her own. Moving down the sterile white hallway, she felt the eyes of those tucked away in the waiting rooms. Some hopeful, others riddled with fear. Everyone fought their own battles, and in that moment, Emily sensed she was not alone. They were all woven into God's great tapestry, each thread significant, individual, and yet part of something far greater. In the examination room, the doctor entered with a clipboard, his face a mask of professionalism. "How are you both doing today?" Emily offered a weak smile, her heart fluttering between fear and hope. "We're okay. Just ready to get this over with." As the doctor explained the tests, words became a blur. She clung to Lucas's small hand, wishing to infuse him with the quiet strength she desperately sought herself. What message would God send today? Finally, as the doctor turned to them with a serious expression, time seemed to stand still. She could see the shifting emotions in his eyes, a flicker of something pained. "The results are in." Silence filled the air, and her world narrowed down to that moment, her spirit wrestling with dread. "Mom," Lucas whispered, sensing the gravity of the situation. "Remember, we're in this together," she reminded him softly, squeezing his hand tighter, and right then, at the intersection of anxiety and faith, something shifted within her. She heard the whispers she'd grown familiar with: "Faith can move mountains. God walks with us through the fire. His plans are always good. Your son is showing notable strength," the doctor finally said, pausing for a breath. "While the prognosis is cautious, we see improvements that warrant hope." Hope. The word sank in gently, unfurling tendrils of relief within Emily's chest. Tears, unbidden, welled in her eyes. She inhaled deeply, drinking in the moment. The doctor continued with information about a new treatment plan, but the words swirled around Emily like leaves caught in a spring breeze. In that moment, she understood more than just a prognosis. She grasped a deeper message about faith, persistence, and the divine timing of life. On the drive home, she glanced over at Lucas, who was humming blissfully to himself. "Ice cream, right?" He beamed, and she couldn't help but smile. Yet even as joy flooded her heart, a stirring persisted. What came next? What was the greater purpose behind this trial? With the sun setting in a fiery blaze, she felt the warmth of its glow on her face. A divine revelation was close at hand. What lessons lay ahead for her, and how could they shape their faith even deeper? The night held mysteries and answers, waiting just beyond her grasp. Would she, along with her son, walk into tomorrow with the kind of faith that ignites miracles? The next morning came with a cool breeze that carried fresh hope. Emily stood at the kitchen sink, washing dishes while the sun spilled golden light onto the counter. Her heart, still buoyed by the previous day's news, felt lighter, yet questions tangled within her mind. What did God truly intend for them? Lucas bounded into the kitchen, his laughter ringing like chimes in the wind. "Mom, can I have peanut butter toast with a smiley face?" She laughed gently, a sound that filled the space with warmth. "Of course." With joy, she spread the peanut butter and sliced a banana in a way that created two eyes and a big, cheerful mouth. Watching him eat brought her comfort, a reminder of simple joys amidst their challenges. After breakfast, Emily decided it was the perfect day for a little adventure, a walk in the nearby park. The trees were lush with green leaves, and flowers bloomed with a vibrancy that mirrored her heart. "Can we go see the ducks?" Lucas asked, his curiosity shining brightly. "Yes, let us," she said, taking his hand. Together they wandered through the park, greeted by the gentle sounds of nature. The sun felt warm on her skin, and as they approached the pond, a family of ducks waddled by, quacking cheerfully. "Look, Mom! They look so happy!" Lucas exclaimed, his eyes wide with wonder. At that moment, a stillness washed over Emily. She realized how much joy was nestled in the little things: the laughter of her son, the quacking of ducks, the sun shining overhead. These were glimpses of divine love. With each joyful quack, a wave of peace enveloped her. She understood that God often speaks through nature, through the laughter of a child, and even through the rustling breeze. "Lucas," she said, kneeling beside him to gaze at the ducks. "Do you think God is telling us something through them?" His face scrunched in thought before he replied, "Maybe he is saying to be happy, like them." Emily's heart soared. Exactly. God wants us to find joy in every moment, even when things are tough. As they continued to watch the ducks, Emily felt a stirring within her. A revelation ignited, a realization that trials often serve a purpose beyond their current understanding. She thought back to the test results, the cautious hope. There was a divine plan unfolding, one that called for steadfast faith and joy in every step. When they returned home, Emily's heart brimmed with gratitude. She sought out her journal and began to write, pouring out thoughts about hope and faith. Each word felt like a prayer, each sentence an offering to God. "Thank you, Father," she wrote, "for the promise of tomorrow and for the reminder to embrace joy in this journey." Time slipped away, consumed by her reflection. Just as she was closing the journal, Lucas popped in with a grin. "Ice cream. Remember, you promised." His enthusiasm brought a light chuckle from Emily. "Let us make a deal. If we get ice cream, we have to think of 3 things we are thankful for today first." "Okay. I'm thankful for the ducks, the sun, and you, Mom." He exclaimed, bouncing on his toes. With a warm heart, she replied, "I am thankful for you, your laugh, and our time together." As they ventured out for the ice cream, Emily realized something profound. In the simplest of moments, they were learning resilience and faith. The trials they faced were but stepping stones into deeper understandings of God's love. That evening, as they enjoyed their treats beneath a glowing sunset, Emily understood that joy, combined with faith, was a powerful force. But a question lingered, nudging at the back of her mind: what other lessons awaited them on this journey? As faith danced within her and curiosity beckoned, Emily felt they were on the brink of discovering something truly miraculous. What else would the coming days reveal about their purpose and God's plan? A new day dawned, bright and inviting. Emily awoke with a sense of anticipation. The sun's warm rays filtered through her curtains, illuminating the room in soft gold. She could feel a whisper in the air, a gentle reminder that today was an opportunity to seek out God's purpose even more deliberately. As she prepared breakfast, thoughts of the previous day lingered in her mind. The ice cream and laughter, the moments of gratitude, they were seeds of joy planted deep within her heart. There was something stirring, a promise of even greater understanding waiting just beyond the horizon. "Mom, can I help?" Lucas's voice broke her reverie, pulling her back to the familiar rhythm of morning. "Of course, my little chef. We can make our famous fruit flag today," she said, her eyes sparkling. They diced colorful berries and bananas, assembling them into a flag like the symbols of hope. Each slice felt like an offering of thanks, every color a testament to joy. Together, they carried the vibrant creation to the porch. Sitting outside, they gazed at their work, a feast for both the eyes and the spirit. Lucas's innocence reminded Emily of the untainted faith Jesus spoke of. Children truly have a knack for seeing the wonder in everything, don't they? "Lucas, do you remember our walk to the pond?" she asked, taking a moment to bask in the love she felt for her child. "I do. The ducks were so funny." His laughter rang out again, and Emily chuckled alongside him, savoring the sweet sound. In that laughter, she felt her worries drifting away, suspended in a soft breeze. Moments later, a gentle knock interrupted their fun. It was their neighbor, Mrs. Taylor, an elderly woman with kind eyes that twinkled like stars. She often shared wisdom wrapped in stories of her life. "Good morning. I brought you this," she said, offering a tray of freshly baked muffins. "The Lord put you on my heart, and I thought you could use a treat." Emily's heart swelled. "Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. Your kindness always brightens our day." As they shared muffins and stories, Emily found herself captivated by Mrs. Taylor's tales of faith. There was a beauty in the way she recounted moments of grace amidst trials. "Life can twist and turn in unexpected ways, dear," Mrs. Taylor shared, her voice warm and soothing. "But remember, the Lord uses every situation to teach us something important. It's all part of His grand story." "Like the ducks?" Lucas chimed in, eager to connect the dots of their morning adventure. "Exactly. God speaks in ordinary moments." Mrs. Taylor beamed. "He reveals hidden messages through simple joys." A realization washed over Emily. Could these everyday teachings be part of a greater design? Each person they met, every event, they were threads woven into the fabric of God's divine purpose. After Mrs. Taylor left, Emily felt a stirring deep within her soul. She grabbed her journal again, this time letting her pen flow freely. "Lord, what do you want to reveal to us?" she wrote, feeling the weight of that inquiry. That evening, as Emily tucked Lucas into bed, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something significant. The world outside grew quiet, yet inside her heart, a symphony of questions and hope surged. "What truths might surface in our lives, God?" she whispered as she kissed Lucas goodnight. As she climbed into bed, she sensed a gentle nudging in her spirit, a promise of revelation. Could it be that they were about to unveil a mystery that would change everything they believed about their journey? As sleep embraced her, Emily felt the realms of the divine drawing closer, her heart beating with the rhythm of something extraordinary. What would tomorrow unfold? What miraculous messages awaited her and Lucas amidst the ordinary? The sunrise spilled into Emily's room, casting gentle hues of pink and gold that danced on the walls. A new day was here, and with it, fresh possibilities whispered secrets of divine encounters. She stretched, moving with purposeful grace as her heart swelled with expectation. "Lucas!" she called, her voice bright yet tender. "Time to wake up, buddy." In moments, her little chef tumbled out of bed, his hair tousled but his smile radiant. Today felt different. She could sense it like a warm breeze inviting them to step outside. "Can we see the ducks again today?" Lucas asked, his eyes sparkling with joy. Without hesitation, Emily nodded. "Absolutely. We'll grab some bread and have an adventure." As they prepared for their outing, a thought crossed her mind. What if today was meant for more than mere fun at the pond? What if God was planning to reveal something profound? The very air seemed charged with expectancy, and with each passing moment, Emily felt the divine nudgings grow louder. With a loaf of bread and vibrant spirits in tow, the pair set off to the nearby pond. The path was familiar, yet the air was rich with promise, as if every step was leading them towards revelation. The ducks greeted them with loud quacks, a joyful cacophony that felt like a welcoming choir. As Emily tore pieces of bread, she watched the ducks rush to devour them, their little bodies waddling in chaotic delight. "They seem so happy," she remarked, her heart warming. "It's like they're celebrating, Mom," Lucas observed, his excitement infectious. "Just like we should celebrate every blessing," Emily replied, brightening. She thought about Mrs. Taylor's words about finding joy in the ordinary. Perhaps today's lesson was buried somewhere beneath the surface of this simple outing. Suddenly, from the corner of her eye, Emily caught a glimpse of a woman sitting alone on a bench nearby. Her face was streaked with shadows, tears forming at the edges of her eyes. Emily's heart tugged. God was nudging her. Maybe this was why they had come today, to offer hope. "Lucas, wait here a moment, okay?" she whispered, her feet already moving toward the woman. "Okay, Mom," he chirped, watching curiously. "Hi there," Emily said gently as she approached. I saw you sitting here, and I just wanted to check in. Are you okay? The woman looked up, startled at first, but then her gaze softened. I'm just feeling overwhelmed, she confessed, her voice wavering. This week has been hard, and I don't know how to keep going. Without knowing why, Emily was suddenly filled with an overwhelming urge to embrace this stranger. Sometimes life can feel heavy, can't it? She said, her voice steady and reassuring. But you're not alone in it. There's always hope waiting just around the corner. Tears brimmed in the woman's eyes. Thank you, I needed to hear that. It just felt so dark lately. As Emily shared her own experiences, the sacred warmth of connection filled the space between them. Moments passed like stars twinkling in a night sky, and with each encouraging word, something shifted in the woman's spirit. Lucas watched from a distance, sensing that something important was happening. Within the folds of that moment, Emily realized that sometimes, God's purpose wasn't merely for personal revelation, it was about being vessels of His love in the lives of others. As they concluded their conversation, the woman smiled warmly, the light in her eyes restored. I'll take your words with me. Thank you for being here, she said, her voice infused with newfound hope. Emily returned to Lucas, who beamed. Did you help her, Mom? You looked like a superhero. She laughed through joyful tears. In a way, yes. And you know what? This is just the beginning. I feel there's more to discover today. As they walked back toward the car, Emily's heart soared. A new understanding dawned within her. Was God orchestrating a series of divine messages meant to reshape their life? If the day held such beauty already, what else awaited them? What if they were just scratching the surface of a grand revelation, with each step, the world's rhythm pulsed with promise, leaving Emily breathless at the thought of what was yet to come. What miraculous truths might they still encounter when the sun reached its peak? Would the layers of divine wisdom unfold even further? As they reached the car, Emily felt an electric sense of anticipation in the air. The morning's sweetness clung to her heart, mingling with the promise of yet more blessings. She buckled Lucas in, stealing glances at the tree line bursting with life, a true testament of God's artistry. Where to next, Mom? Lucas queried, his little fingers drumming against the edge of his seat. Emily closed her eyes for a fraction of a second, tuning in. Let's south, go to the park. I have a feeling we might find something special there. The drive only heightened her excitement. The sun began to climb higher, casting golden hues across the sky, illuminating the path ahead. Her thoughts wandered back to the woman they had met at the pond. It was a divine moment, a reminder that sometimes, hope blooms in the most unexpected places. As they arrived at the park, the skyline sparkled with life. The sounds of laughter and joy enveloped them. Children played freely on the swings, and a band of friends flitted in the distance, their voices blending into a harmony of delight. But as Emily and Lucas ventured deeper into this vibrant scene, something held her attention. A group gathered near the fountain at the center. Drawn to it, Emily's heart quickened, the air felt thick with possibility. She spotted a young man talking earnestly to a small crowd, his voice carrying passion. Emily held Lucas close, enthralled by the intensity radiating from the young man, who seemed to embody a divine bulldog spirit. With curiosity, they drifted closer. The young man spoke of struggles and hope, weaving tales of faith through his words. Sometimes, he said, when darkness surrounds us, we are called to look for the light within. The light often shines in the kindness of strangers, a random act, or the unexpected timing of grace. As Emily listened, she felt a stirring. These were familiar themes, lessons she had begun to explore. Emotion surged through her. It was as if God was echoing Mrs. Taylor's wisdom strongly through this young man. She turned to Lucas, who looked up at her with wide-eyed wonder. See? She whispered, God is speaking through him, just like he spoke through us. It's all part of the same beautiful design. Lucas nodded, visibly touched by the energy around them. The crowd grew, captivated by the young man. He opened the floor for questions, and suddenly, one woman stepped forward, her voice trembling. How can we truly trust God when things seem to fall apart? The young man's expression softened. Trust isn't just about certainty, it's about knowing you're held even in the unraveling. Every tear is counted. Every cry is heard. When we can't see the way, that's when faith becomes our compass. Emily felt a warm wave of affirmation wash over her, a nudging realization that this could be why they were led here today. Each word he spoke resonated deeply, igniting a flicker of hope and lighting a path of courage through the ordinary challenges of life. As the discourse continued, Emily sensed another opportunity. She leaned down to Lucas. What if we shared our own story? Our encounter with the woman by the pond? It might bless someone here. Lucas's face lit up. Yes. Let us do it. With determination, they edged forward into the circle. The young man caught her eye and smiled, encouraging this divine interruption. Taking a deep breath, Emily began to recount their experience. As she spoke, she felt the presence of God wrapping around every word, knitting hearts together. In that moment, when they finished, she saw that tears glistened in some attendees' eyes. Thank you for sharing, one woman said softly. I needed to hear that, more than you know. This was the divine connection Emily had felt brewing since sunrise. In sharing, they didn't just inspire, they built a bridge of unity, gently reminding everyone of hope's unbreakable thread. As they walked away from the crowd, Lucas clutched his mother's hand tightly, his heart radiant with joy and connection. Mom, I love it when we share stories. It makes everything feel right. How wonderful it is when we share our hearts. Lucas, she replied, her spirit alive with divine excitement. The sun was now high in the sky, casting a soft warmth around them. Emily closed her eyes for a moment, overwhelmed with gratitude for the day's revelations. What more awaited them? What depths of God's love were yet to be uncovered? With abundant possibilities still ahead, she felt an irresistible pull, as if the divine was tugging her onward. You know what, Lucas, she said with a newfound lightness in her heart. Today isn't over yet. There's something more waiting for us. As they strolled toward the playground, anticipation began to bubble inside Emily. What awaited them next? Would they find another soul yearning for hope? Or perhaps a new lesson waiting to unfold? As they approached the playground, the joyous laughter of children echoed all around. The sight was pure delight, swings swaying, slides sparkling in the sun, and the fresh whispers of the leaves dancing in the gentle breeze. Emily felt a surge of warmth, as if all of creation sang in harmony. Can I go play, Mom? Lucas tugged at her hand, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Of course, sweetie. Just remember to stay where I can see you, she replied, watching him dash off with delight. His laughter was a melody that brightened her heart. As Emily settled onto a nearby bench, she took a moment to drink in the beautiful chaos of the park, the spirited energy of children, the soft voices of parents, and the faint chirping of birds above. Her heart blossomed with gratitude, recognizing each detail as part of the divine tapestry of life, but amidst the joy, her gaze was drawn to a figure sitting alone on the far side of the playground, the young woman staring out at the scene, her expression reflecting both longing and sorrow. Emily's heart tugged at this sight, sensing a deeper need in the young woman's quiet solitude. Feeling an unshakable nudge from within, Emily rose from the bench, curiosity propelling her forward. As she approached, she could see the young woman's eyes glistening. A silent tempest raged behind her outward calm. Hi there, Emily said gently, her voice soft like a whispered prayer. I noticed you were sitting alone. Is everything all right? The young woman looked up, startled for a moment, then gradually exhaled as if releasing a weight. I don't know, she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. I thought maybe coming here would help me feel better, but I just feel lost. Emily took a seat beside her, inviting connection. Sometimes we feel lost when we're in the middle of a storm. I've been there, too. But there's always hope, even when it's hard to see. What if things never change? The young woman questioned, her vulnerability flickering like a candle in the wind. Change is part of life's journey. But we're not alone. God often shines brightest through our darkest moments, Emily reassured her. Do you believe there's a purpose behind the struggles? The young woman nodded slowly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. But it feels so heavy. I can't seem to find my way. May I share something? Emily offered, hoping to plant a seed of encouragement. Not long ago, my son and I experienced something incredible. We learned that sharing our stories and reaching out can lift that burden. It creates connections that can guide us through the thick fog. As she spoke, Emily felt the warmth of divine presence enveloping them. The atmosphere shifted, like the sun breaking through clouds after a storm. She smiled softly, stirring hope in the young woman's eyes. Really? Just sharing? She asked, her gaze searching for answers. It's more than just sharing. It's about being vulnerable enough to let others in. It's about trusting that the right people, or words, will come when we need them, Emily explained, her own faith blooming visibly at that moment. Your story can be a source of strength for someone else, just like your presence here is a light for me. The young woman took a deep breath, contemplating Emily's words. Maybe I should try talking to someone. I've kept everything bottled for too long. I just didn't know how to begin. Emily's heart swelled with hope as she offered her a tender smile. That's a beautiful step forward. You're already on your way. As the young woman began to share her heart, Emily listened intently. She felt that familiar sense of divine connection wrapping around them both, creating a sacred space filled with understanding. Just then, Lucas bounded back to them, excitement radiating from his face. Mom! Look at what I found. He held up a small, delicate feather, shining in the sunlight. Isn't it just beautiful? Emily's heart danced at the sight of her son's enthusiasm. It is beautiful, Lucas. Just like your spirit, she replied, encouragingly. The young woman smiled at Lucas, and in that instant, a hint of the storm inside her began to dissipate. See? Life holds so many little treasures, even amidst our doubts, Emily said softly, turning back to her new friend. Sometimes, the smallest things remind us of God's love and purpose for us. As they shared laughter and stories, Emily knew they were all part of a greater journey. She felt the faint pull of the divine, promising there was more ahead. Where do we go from here? The young woman asked, her heart visibly softening. I believe we just follow where God leads us, Emily answered, filled with renewed hope. Maybe we're supposed to meet more hearts like ours today. With a sense of divine urgency lingering in the air, she wondered, what would unfold next? Was there another person waiting, longing for connection just like they had? In that moment, possibility hung heavy around them, like the sweet fragrance of blooming flowers calling out for attention. Would they step into the unknown once again and discover what God had intricately woven into the fabric of this day? Emily took a moment to soak in the scene around them. The laughter of children mixed with the chirping of birds, creating a beautiful symphony of life's joys. But her heart remained tethered to the young woman beside her, whose eyes flickered with uncertainty. Do you believe in signs? Emily asked, curious to know how to guide this young soul further. With everything that's going on in my life right now? She replied softly. It feels like I'm only seeing shadows. Signs? I don't know if I believe in signs anymore. Emily nodded, feeling a wave of compassion wash over her. Sometimes, the signs we seek come in the most unexpected ways. They unfold when we least expect them, sometimes drawing us closer to hope. An encouraging breeze swept through the air, and the leaves danced lightly on the trees, almost as if nodding in agreement with her words. The young woman cast her gaze beyond the playground, where a bright sunbeam spilled onto the grass, illuminating a small cluster of flowers nestled at the edge. Look at those flowers, Emily continued, pointing. Even in the chaos around them, they thrive. Do you see how they stand tall, shining beautifully? They bloom despite the storms they face. We can be like those flowers. The young woman turned her eyes toward the flowers and watched as a gentle butterfly flitted among them. You're right. They do look strong and so delicate at the same time. Exactly, Emily affirmed. Life allows us to be both at once. We have strength and faith, yet we can feel fragile. That's part of our journey. When we embrace those feelings and share them, we grow. Lucas, still clutching the feather, perked up. Mom! Can I keep the feather as a reminder of our talk? His innocent enthusiasm painted a smile across Emily's face. Of course. It'll remind you that God's gifts often come in tiny packages, filled with great meaning. She smiled, then turned back to the young woman, whose brow had relaxed considerably. What if we began looking for signs together? Just like Lucas is finding meaning in that feather. What do you mean? The young woman tilted her head, intrigue sparkling in her eyes. I mean, let us keep our hearts open today. Who knows? God might put someone in our path who needed a little light just as much as we do. The words felt electric, resonating with an undeniable truth. A moment of warm silence lingered between them. It felt sacred, the kind of pause that often invites divine revelation. The ground beneath seemed to pulse with possibility. Maybe I should focus on the small things, the young woman mused softly. What if these little moments can save my spirit? Yes. Those moments can bring hope, connection, and perhaps, healing, Emily said, emboldened by the young woman's enthusiasm. What was the last thing that made your heart smile? As if a switch had flipped, the woman's expression brightened. I love the beach. I remember walking along the shoreline, collecting shells. Each one was unique, beautiful in its own way, just like we are. Emily's heart swelled at this. Then let us find our shells today. Let us collect moments of joy, signs of love, reasons to hope. In that instant, a sense of excitement bubbled up inside them. The world around felt alive, and they weren't alone in the vastness of the park. The divine presence lingered heavily, almost inviting them to step boldly forward. Thank you for talking with me. I didn't think I needed this, but I really do, the young woman whispered, her voice now imbued with a touch of strength. As Emily's eyes sparkled, she felt the weight of expectancy. Just as Lucas ran off toward the swings with delight, a group of older children nearby began to giggle, their laughter ringing like joyful bells. Every sound wrapped around her, affirming the shift in the air. Let us see what God has planned for us in the next few moments, shall we? Emily suggested, the urge to explore budding within her. The young woman nodded eagerly, ready to embrace whatever was about to unfold. As they rose together, the playground became a vibrant tapestry of connection, laughter, and divine encounters. Waiting to be discovered. But just then, out of the corner of her eye, Emily spotted someone sitting quietly on a nearby bench with a distant expression. A flicker of recognition sparked in her heart as she felt the familiar pull of divine guidance. Who is that? She wondered aloud, her spirit ignited with curiosity. Could this be another person meeting a moment of connection? The atmosphere thrummed with energy as they approached that solitary figure. What were they about to uncover next? Emily approached the bench, her heart racing with the knowledge that each encounter was a divine orchestration. As she drew nearer, she recognized the man sitting alone. He often came to the park, but rarely engaged with anyone. Today, he appeared lost in thought, the weight of the world apparent on his shoulders. Hi there, Emily greeted gently, taking a seat beside him. Is everything okay? He looked up, surprise dancing in his eyes. I'm just thinking. Life has been tough lately. His voice trembled slightly, and empathy swelled in Emily's chest. She shared her own struggles, the trials she and Lucas faced, and how they learned to find joy and purpose amid adversity. Each word seemed to unravel the man's defenses, drawing him closer to hope. It's been hard to see the light, he admitted, glancing at the children playing. I often feel like I don't belong here. Emily felt a shift in the air, almost palpable, as if heaven leaned in to listen. We all have moments when we feel lost, Emily said softly. But those moments can weave us into a bigger story. Sharing with others can forge connections that illuminate our path. As she spoke, the young woman from before, who had joined the conversation, leaned in. You're not alone in this. I've battled those same shadows. Opening up felt impossible until I chose to embrace it. The man's eyes flickered with interest. Really? You've struggled too? Yes, she affirmed. Part of healing is finding strength in vulnerability. When we share, we thrive together. One heart's honesty can spark another's hope. A tear slipped down the man's cheek, carving a path of release. I've buried so much inside, afraid of what others would think. Emily reached out, placing a hand on his arm. You're safe here. You're surrounded by people who understand. You're seen, and you matter. The warmth of her compassion seemed to fill the empty air with a tangible presence. Lucas returned from the swings, running up to his mom with laughter bubbling from his lips. Mom, can I share my feather with him? It's my reminder of hope. Emily looked at the man, who smiled at Lucas. That sounds perfect. As Lucas presented the feather, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The golden sunlight caught in the delicate fibers, scattering tiny prisms of hope onto their faces. See the beauty in what seems tiny. Emily said, her voice filled with encouragement. Even something small can carry great meaning. The man gazed at the feather in wonder. It's beautiful. Just like life, isn't it? He mused. There is so much tucked away if we're willing to explore. That's it. Emily exclaimed, excitement surging within her. Life unfolds in layers. Each one peeling back can reveal surprising beauty. In that shared moment, they began to exchange stories, revealing the intricacies of their struggles and triumphs. With each word, Emily realized this was no coincidence, this moment was a piece of the divine puzzle. They were all here to support and uplift each other. As the afternoon passed seamlessly into evening, Emily's heart fluttered with joy. The interplay of laughter, shared tears, and light formed a chorus that echoed through their souls, binding them together. It felt electric, their hearts danced as they moved from isolation to community. Finally, as dusk settled over the park, Emily looked at Lucas and then to the man and the young woman beside her. We've created something beautiful here. This is what love and connection can do, it simply fills the void. With renewed strength, they began discussing plans to meet regularly, forming a community of encouragement. Emily prayed softly in her heart, asking for guidance on how to nurture their newfound bonds. As they parted ways, the man turned to Emily and Lucas with a grateful smile. You've shown me the light today. Thank you for reminding me that I'm never truly alone. With the sun dipping below the horizon, casting an amber glow across the sky, Emily felt a swell of gratitude. It's just the beginning, she said, embracing Lucas to her side. Together, we'll keep seeking the divine in every encounter. The evening carried a weight of understanding. In those shared moments, in vulnerability, they had discovered strength, hope, and the relentless power of community. With love radiating from their hearts, they ventured home, transformed by the day. Each footstep forward felt like an answered prayer, an invitation to embrace the unknown, and a commitment to share the seeds of faith. As the stars shimmered in the night sky, Emily whispered words of gratitude for the miracles encountered, not just the healing of Lucas, but the healing of broken spirits connected through faith. This was the culmination, the divine design unfolding perfectly through their lives. Was this not the testament of love, of faith, and the interconnectedness of all believers? Each miracle invited new miracles, fueling the sacred journey ahead. Now, dear friends, this incredible story has reached its powerful conclusion, yet it resonates much deeper. If this touched your heart, you need to subscribe now to our channel because more exclusive faith stories are on the horizon waiting just for you. Leave a like now to ensure these divine messages reach even more souls out there. Your support feeds the algorithm and spreads God's word further. We want to hear from you. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this ending. How has it transformed your perspective? And don't wait even one more second, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Only true servants of God recognize the urgency of spreading hope and connection. Together, let us illuminate the world with faith.